Hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of our Bigger Picture Show interview series, where we talk to artists who contributed to this year's Bigger Picture Show, a gallery-style poster show where Indie's best designers and illustrators reimagine classic film posters. All of this to benefit Indie Film Fest and sponsored, of course, by Lodge Design. Today, we are talking with Krista Ward, who made a poster based on the film Beetlejuice. Welcome to the show, Krista.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us today. I love your poster. It's so detailed and intricate and so much to look at. What was it about this location that was intriguing to you, since this year we're sort of focusing on film locations and sets?
So it was tough because Beetlejuice has so many like iconic scenes and sets. Which is why I ended up with 3 instead of just doing one scene. I decided to do a triptych.
Right.
There's just, I don't know, Beetlejuice is one of my favorite movies of all time, and every single scene is, I don't know, really iconic to me. But the 3 that I chose, I kind of chose to mesh together in the sense that they all kind of have their own color scheme and, I guess for lack of better words, like vibe to them. You know, I probably had 5 or 6 that I really wanted to portray in this poster, but these 3 kind of made the cut because I thought they would work really well together. Stacked, of course, the top one actually having like the Beetlejuice sign in it, which gave me some typography at the very top. And then the house, of course, you got to have the house in there. And then Dante's Inferno is just really fun, and it brought in like that red color that I really wanted to add in there. And then, of course, I had to work a sandworm in there.
Of course, the sandworm to tie it all together.
Yeah.
I like how Dante's Inferno ended up at the bottom of the poster too, sort of down below.
It's down below. It fits well.
So, what overall were like? What was your goal in trying to capture in the final product? What were you hoping to accomplish once you were finished?
So with the design, I knew I wanted something like kind of like very gritty and a little dark, which you can kind of see in the style that I did it in. And I wanted to kind of have layers, really just kind of like encompass the movie in its entirety. It's front to back, like I said, a great movie. And so I kind of wanted it to feel like have a couple different scenes from the movie that it kind of tells the story a little bit. Not necessarily in order of how it happened, but it kind of tells the story of Beetlejuice, and it has that like real gritty texture and feel, and it's dark, yet it kind of has like a little bit of a funness to it. I guess Beetlejuice, you could say, is a little bit of a kid's movie. I know it's Tim Burton is associated with Disney, and Disney, you think of kids.
Right.
But you wouldn't think Beetlejuice. It's pretty dark, so I wanted to kind of play that
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. You talked about your style. I love the grittiness and like the really textured feel of it. I could tell like you didn't take any shortcuts. Like I have the luxury of being able to zoom into it digitally and seeing just the sheer amount of detail that went into this. Would you say this is your typical style, or did you go outside the box a little bit with this?
This one's a little outside the box. My style is, I don't know if I have like a dedicated style. I kind of, if you look at my posters over the years, they kind of are a little bit all over the place, honestly. But this one I kind of tapped into, I went to art school and we had to do drawing techniques, and, you learn to like layer in, textures for darker areas. And I really kind of just went back to basics and went with that. It was fun to do. It, you know, actually was a little bit therapeutic, because a lot of it was honestly just like scribbling, which you can tell if you look in real close, and it's kind of therapeutic to just like scribble in and layer in, and then eventually as you zoom out, it builds into this bigger picture.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I love how it turned out. I love the all in like your use of color, how you got a different color for each section, how it's sort of so subdued color in the background, and then there's more saturated, vibrant pieces in each one that sort of pop out at you.
Yeah, thank you.
I like that effect. So that was sort of your technique with this, was sort of the going back to the basics of drawing and really getting in there with like the pencil and the digital pencil to add texture and things. What was your overall strategy with creating this once you knew that you were going to do a Beetlejuice poster? How did you set about on this task?
Yeah. It's kind of funny because as soon as I figured out I was doing Beetlejuice and we were focusing on like sets and locations, I kind of had a vision in my mind that I wanted to do like a triptych. I wanted to do 3 sort of very separate sections that still go together. So with that in mind, you know, I started with a couple sketches, and of course the hardest part was narrowing down which scenes I wanted to do, and I listed those out, and I kind of just like played with the idea. I even did some screen grabs and kind of stacked them to see which ones kind of meshed with each other, and then with those I kind of like blocked them out, so that they had a little bit more of a flow, and then, you know, from there I the sketch kind of gets more detailed as you go. And then, you know, with the drawing style, I used Procreate, and it was just like, I think 1 brush, which was the Sketcher brush I think you get in the basic pack.
Yeah.
And I pretty much just layered it all in, one right on top of the other. And then I may have used sort of like an airbrush for some of the color techniques. But again, it was layering in those textures one on top of the other until you got like a lot of the depth that I was really looking for in this.
Okay, cool. And like doing some of the coloring like on separate layers too. And I wasn't sure if like this is all, you just did it all on one layer. Using.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a little while. I think all the sketching and all the dark line work, I think that was all essentially on one layer for each separate scene. I put each on a separate scene so I could kind of move them around, and get the spacing right, and, you know, have everything feel like it all kind of goes together. And then the colors I kind of layered in behind that, so that the colors sit behind the line work, and it shows through the line work.
Okay.
So yeah, the colors were separate layers, and then the line work was its own, so I could move them around a little bit.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, we saw them printed out here, and it ended up printing out really nice. So
Awesome.
Can't wait for you to see it in person.
I'm very excited for it.
So you mentioned you doing posters for the Bigger Picture show over the years. So you've done this a handful of times.
Yeah, I believe this is my 6th poster, and it's so much fun.
Do you have to pick a certain favorite thing about Bigger Picture show?
So my favorite thing is I really get to let loose and go wild. My day job is I'm a user experience interface designer, which sounds super boring. I design software, and this is 100% the opposite of that. I really get to let my creative flag fly and do something for me that I love. So that's like my overall favorite thing about doing the poster show. And then, yeah, just besides my Beetlejuice poster, you guys have, I mean, even the Beetlejuice poster, you guys have given like amazing prompts every year that they put just enough parameters that you feel like you're empowered to do something, but you're not like then frozen in fear. You're like, oh, I have way too much freedom. So it's like the perfect amount of like, do this, but do it in this space. Which is
like
awesome.
Oh yeah, like I love working off of a little bit of a prompt.
Yeah.
And kind of getting to think of your own way to interpret that into your own sort of style and your own ideas. And absolutely, I totally agree with the letting loose thing, because getting to just dump a ton of like time or effort into a single idea and really show off your creativity. And this is amazing. I would have never guessed that your day job was a UX UI designer. This is such a cool thing you made.
Yes, thank you. I guess to add that, and now that I'm thinking about it, the other thing that I absolutely love is seeing all the other designers' posters. Just like every year, I'm in awe of the talent that is in Indianapolis of these designers creating these posters. I love walking around at the show every year, and it's, I have some friends in the show. I, get to meet new designers, and it is just, I'm floored every year at the quality of these posters and the design work that comes out. So that's another favorite thing I want to add in there.
Oh yeah, well, I totally agree. It's always so much fun walking around and seeing everything, seeing the amount of talent that we have here. It's energizing, and it's just so much fun to take it all in one place with everybody else.
I'm gonna have to pause for a minute because I'm in the backyard and my dogs are about to start barking.
Well, that's all right. Hey,
cut this out, Ross.
That's perfect timing. Your dog's like really good timing because we are right at the end of our segment. So, hey everyone, thank you for watching. Make sure to come out and check this poster out, and check out all the other great works that we're going to have on display at the Bigger Picture Roadshow this year. It is on October 29th at the end of the month at Circle City Industrial Complex. Make sure to come out, check it out, and we hope to see you all there. Thank you for watching, everybody. See you next time.